Hi, this is George, and joining me are two guests. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Kang.
And this is Kai.
Okay, okay, yes. What's up? And then we're just here to talk about Mountain Blade. I played Warband. What have you guys played?
I have only played Warband with the Florist mod.
I've played Warband exclusively, and then I maybe played about 20 minutes of the Florist mod.
Oh wow! So immediately, I guess since
Pretty
Kai,
good.
well, since you played the game most recently, like what are your thoughts between the two mods?
Well, definitely the Florist mod. I like that it does simplify some things. Let's see, like basically when you're interacting with towns and castles or whatever, like if there are more options present to you, so that or presented to you, so that you don't have to go dig go dig in for like finding the guild master or
Wait, that's not the norm? Oh
Yeah,
my god.
in
yeah,
real
that's
life, you have to walk around the city like a normal plebeian to find the one dude to talk to.
yeah, that
You
was
have to do
particularly
this
annoying. Yeah.
every time you go to the city. Needless to say, I stopped doing quests very quickly in the regular game.
um yeah, it's a simplification, or it simplifies the game a bit, or not simplifies, but it makes things a bit, or it streamlines. That's what I'm looking for. It streamlines a bit of the main game, but again, I've only played like 20 minutes of it, and that's the thing that stood out the most to me. It's just things are more or less straight to the point in a way.
Okay. Did you think it was a little harder or easier, like combat wise?
Um, I loaded up, I loaded up the game, and I got to participate in a tournament right away, and I did find that it was a bit more difficult. I'm not entirely sure why, but I I, I did I did I did notice that you can tune the difficulty of the tournaments if you wanted to. I just left it as is, and I saw that it was left on hard mode, so maybe that could have been it. I haven't played a normal battle just yet, so
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah. It's only the tournament that was hard for me.
Okay. I don't think regular battles should be too hard as long as you have an actual army.
Yeah,
As
but
long as you don't have an army of tier 1.
Yeah, and as long as you have actual equipment, that's usually what's hard about the start of Mountain Blade is that I don't think you start with the horse, right? Or no, it depends on your starting class.
right.
But like you don't start with the right items usually. Um, and honestly, the initial thought when I played Mountain Blade was, this game looks terrible. And I already played similar like medieval combat games, most notably Chivalry, and I didn't really want to get into another medieval combat game, so I actually passed this up until another friend recommended this game to me and said, this is the game he wanted Elite Dangerous to be like.
Well, like, Chivalry was pretty much completely inspired by Mountain Blade for its combat system.
Wow, I
I,
didn't know
I
that.
think that's the case, because, like, from what I understand, the multiplayer is pretty similar, but Chivalry does streamline it in a lot of ways. But, like, directional swinging and the ranged combat and that sort of thing, that I'm pretty sure it's like inspired by Mountain Blade.
Yeah, I don't actually remember how the range combat in Chivalry worked. I was really bad at it. I was so bad at it that like I basically maxed out the archer's knife before I maxed out his bow because I would just give up after two shots and start stabbing people. Anyways, the game I played was Elite Dangerous, and then my friend was like, "This game is not a game; it's actually just a tech demo. If only it was like Mountain Blade, then I could actually have fun. It could be an actual game. You could fly around, do actual things in the world instead of just flying around the empty tech demo." So eventually, I got around to Mountain Blade, and I really like it. So much so that we're having this podcast right now. What about you, Kai?
So, admittedly, I played Mount and Blade Warband maybe like a little over a year ago or something like that, and or maybe even more than a year ago.
Wow.
I played like maybe 20 minutes of it. I couldn't stand the graphics, and then I just quit.
Well,
And I didn't, and I only returned to it recently because you told me to check it out, and so
how far did you get before you quit the first time?
let's see. It was basically I was doing the quest where you're supposed to get the 5 guys right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Not the restaurant, just 5 guys.
Yeah. Pretty much, I did that. I got into a battle, and then I was like, okay, never mind. I don't want to do this.
Savage.
I actually didn't get past the tutorial the first time I tried this. I forget why. I think I just thought the tutorial was really boring. And, if the tutorial's boring, maybe the rest of the game is. Anyways, how about you, King? When did you start?
I think I remember seeing my friend playing Napoleonic Warfare. So then I looked at Mountain Blade and saw that everyone was saying Warband's where it's at. So I picked that up, picked up the Florist mod, and since then, when I've tried to play the game, it's always been an on and off sort of thing. Like, I think I've done like that initial quest like at least 20 or 30 times now. It's really annoying after a while, because like I'll always just like start a new file, play for like maybe a week or two, and then forget about it for a few months and come back and like rinse and repeat basically. I never really gotten like more than 100 guys in my squad.
How many kingdoms have you like destroyed then? Because I assume you actually haven't been Mountain Blade yet.
No, well, also the awkward thing is that for the mods that I'm playing, it doesn't actually connect to my Steam.
Oh, that sucks.
So yeah, that's really awkward. But I've only ever I only just recently got into a siege and did some of the things with the larger armies as opposed to like just 20 dudes and dicking around on bandits.
Yeah, I feel like taking castles is a pretty big part of this game. Anyways, so I feel like I'm super biased, but I'm willing to give this a score right now. Thumbs up, the highest score I could possibly give. I would give it
Really?
I would give it the number one in its genre, which I guess would be the Battlefield/Battlefront genre. Although it is a medieval Battlefront rather than, a Battlefield where you shoot people.
I have really mixed opinions about it. I'd say it's more like 3 out of 5 sort of thing for me, because there's some parts of the game that feel really good, and a good chunk of it is kind of like janky and not fun, like training and some other things. But we can talk about that more.
Okay. What about you, Kai?
You want me to give it a score right away?
Well, you've been playing it for a while.
That is true. Okay, I'm gonna go with a thumbs up, but 15 degrees. Or
What the heck? This is the next level rating.
Okay, fine. It's mostly good, so I can give it a thumbs up. If it's just between thumbs up and thumbs down.
There's also thumbs sideways, Kai.
Okay, fine. Yeah, then I can give it a thumbs up. Yes.
Okay. All right. What about other games in this genre? Like, would you say this is the best, the best of the best? Like, I've played only a couple medieval combat melee games. I guess Skyrim sort of counts as a medieval melee combat based game. Um, there's Battlefield, Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefronts. Where do you think it stands in relation to these other games?
See, when you're saying Battlefield slash Battlefront, yeah, like I don't think I've ever played a medieval version of such a thing except for Mountain Blade. Yeah, I know there's Chivalry. I have that. I just haven't played it.
It's pretty good, I think. If anyone still plays it.
Yeah, so I haven't played enough RPGs to see if there's anything as open world and like a medieval open world RPG like Mountain
Skyrim.
Blade. Well,
You just described Skyrim.
I mean, okay, sure, but like actually building up an army and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, the only for the multiplayer aspect, the only other game that I've played is Chivalry, and that's if you're strictly talking about like a medieval version of a Battlefield style game. Because I think maybe something like Red Orchestra would be following its multiplayer style systems in terms of having a constant stream of guys spawn in on top of taking objectives, but that's at that point it's kind of going on a that's kind of pushing it.
Okay. Alright, so I think it's the best of its genre, honestly. As I thought it was hilarious that you said this game was open world. You know, because when I feel like people describe open world games, they mostly describe Bethesda games where it's an open countryside. You can walk around and you can see all the empty space that is in the countryside because there's nothing in the countryside, even in real life. Like if you drive across American countryside, it's very similar to Fallout, where there's just nothing but wasteland or farmland, which, you know, for games purposes is basically wasteland. And Mountain Blade technically is the same thing, where the countryside is littered with a bunch of villages that are more or less empty, but you're just controlling a little pawn, a little avatar of yourself, and you just move that around. And you just kind of skip all the graphical overhead of, you know, walking around in actual countryside, and then, you know, 5 seconds later you're at the location that you actually wanted to get to, and then, you know, the combat, the actual gameplay can happen.
I feel like the game manages to find a nice balance between actually walking around a world and doing something like fast travel, because while you're navigating on the open world map, you'll have to you still have to like look out for groups of forces trying to follow your troops or something, or like, you know, if there's a battle going on and you can help out one side or the other, like that's an opportunity you might miss if you're not like looking closely while you're navigating the map. But also you can just like cross the entire countryside in like less than I want to say 30 minutes.
It takes very little time. It's like 5 minutes. I mean, it's going to take multiple days in game, but, you know, just click across the entire map and you should be able to get there. I mean, assuming you're not going to get chased by random bandits that have thousands of people. I swear to God, those bandits are the worst part of Flores. I should turn it off the next time.
There's some... Wait. Those... See, this is why it's kind of weird for me not having played native, because I didn't realize that they're not as like abundant in native. Is that what it is?
In native, I don't think they even exist. Like, bandits are a joke. They're just people you train on.
Yeah, so like well, with Flores, right, they're pretty they're basically untouchable in the early game.
Yeah.
And after like maybe 10, 20 days with some upgrades on your forces, you might be able to go head to head with them.
I'm level 20 and I can like mow down 1,000 bandits. It'll take forever of my time, like, and a good chunk of my forces will die, so it's not really worth it.
Yeah, you're like
they'll never take a city, so like everyone just kind of tolerates them.
That's true. They mostly just go around raiding villagers and caravans that are navigating the map. But sometimes I've seen like really large bandit groups. Like I've seen a group that was like 100 people or something with a bunch of prisoners, because they basically just combine groups and snowball.
Anyways, I feel like we should describe the game a little more so people know what we're talking about. Finally.
Okay.
Yeah, so this game basically has the same combat as Chivalry, except you're on a horse. You can choose not to be on a horse, then it's exactly like Chivalry. But the horse is where it's at. And you can lance people. You can, it's sort of like what you imagine Total War Warhammer gameplay to be like, if you were just like one of the soldiers on the field. And then you have bow, arrow, lance, and melee weapon. The lance, you can lance people by running super fast, and it'll like insta-kill anything you hit. And then everything else kind of just works how you expect, Oblivion to work, or Skyrim. You just swing your sword and you can block a certain direction. And I know that sounds really basic, but I felt like this was the core of the game. It's just fighting 50 on 50, 30 on 30 battles, and that was really fun. Anything that wasn't that part of the game, I felt like was either downtime that I was taking a break, or it was just boring, like walking through the village trying to find the quest giver.
So it's important to remember that Mount and Blade as a game is pretty old by now.
Yeah, you can see in the graphics.
I mean, most people were playing Warband, but the original Mount and Blade must have come out like a decade ago.
Yeah, it's 08.
But yeah. So then, I'm not sure if this is true, but I want to say that it's like one of the first games to be using directional swings in melee combat.
Okay, I wouldn't be surprised, because I'm pretty sure Oblivion just had you swinging your sword, like.
Yeah, like somehow I find the combat in Mount and Blade like to be more engaging than Skyrim to some degree, just because of how the blocking and
the blocking and attacking.
Oh, and how speed affects your damage as well.
Yeah, because you can deal like double damage if you're strafing around your opponent and following like the direction of your swing. But in other games, it's just one flat damage value.
Yeah. This is very apparent when you're on a horse going at max speed. You can really mow down people.
Yep.
Do you normally play in first person or third person?
Third person.
This is a first person mode?
Yeah, there's a first person mode. It's really only useful if you're shooting with the bow.
Yeah. I've tried to use the first person mode, but it's like you said, it's only useful for shooting.
Yeah. And then you can also take castles, I guess. You like run up to the castle and say, I'm gonna siege you now. And then, just wait 7 hours for those ladders to be built, and then you could charge the castle. The castle is really low poly and doesn't have like any of the defenses of a real castle. And nowhere else in the game am I annoyed by respawning troops, because sometimes castles have like 300 garrison troops, and you have to kill them all by hand.
I just want to make sure we're on the same page here, since I haven't played native. Like, it's when you're doing like a siege, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was playing just now, the gate was literally open and dudes were just kind of walking in and uh, and then scaling ladders and towers.
Well, usually there's a tower that like sort of lets you get into the the castle.
Yeah,
So it kind of feels like you're not invited. There's a couple of Viking villages that are just made out of wood, and you could literally just walk in. The gate's open.
wait, so it's not like you have to bust open the gate initially, right?
No.
The tower's doors just open usually.
Yeah, most of the time there's just ladders pre-set up so that you can just walk up the castle, or there's a tower that you have to like slowly push, and then the tower will let you, will actually let you charge the castle.
Wait, so you guys are saying that there isn't a gate, or there isn't a gate that you can lead
There's
your
no
troops
gate.
through?
There's no
gate.
I wish
Okay.
there was
It's
a
an
gate.
open door.
Yeah, I wish there was so I can like hack off the rope holding the gate down, or like somehow pull the gate up so I can let the rest of my troops up. That would be really cool.
I would have
But-
expected something like a battering ram or something.
There is a
where
siege tower, so there.
in like Total War, you got
Yeah,
guys having to protect a battering ram and walking in and hitting the door for 20 seconds before you can actually try to even break through the gate.
yeah. These castle sieges are very bare bones. Like the fact that a siege tower goes and like actually lets you storm the castle at all is pretty amazing, and doesn't happen all the time. One other thing I guess is all these castles have woefully few defenses. There's really just a wall, and that's about it. Like usually there's nothing else. And there's no climbing animation because these people are just two people, right? Like they can't make a climbing animation. So apparently they're gonna fix that in Mountain Blade too. Don't worry.
So what do you feel is like the meat of the game? Being able to lead your troops in battle is pretty much like what makes the game interesting for me.
Yeah. So the meat of the game is just leading fights. Just fighting basically. Just walk up to a bandit and say, "I'm gonna kill you all now." And surprisingly, like the whole dialogue stuff, that part's really just a step to confirm that you really just want to kill all these people.
Yes, no, I'd agree. Definitely, I do want to say that as a fan of medieval warfare and just that time period, this game definitely does let me fulfill my fantasy of like just being a part of a medieval battlefield, right? Like with knights charging at people, you're flanking people with knights, and having infantry take up the brunt of the force, and then you just wipe out the enemy with cavalries.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely the combat. That's really the core thing that
Yeah.
I like the most about the game. Everything else, it's just more reason to it's just more reason for you to go out and kill stuff. But going back to sort of what I didn't like about the game, so other than the graphics, something else. One of the reasons why I stopped was because there were way too many dialogue options. Like I didn't like there
There's
was a lot
too
of
much
talk.
talking.
There's too
We
much-
just need to
there's a
get
lot
to
of
killing
talk,
each other.
and then there's a lot of politics. Now, I sort of came around the politics a little more recently when I played it again. So, regarding the politics, I particularly like the intrigue, like how you can how within the faction, like the lords, they can have rivals, or they can be rivals with other lords, and then you can, in order to gain favor with them, you can ask them to like denounce the other lords, or like or if someone else is in the prison, you can break them out and then gain favor, and then sort of use that to your advantage somehow. I haven't gotten past that part yet, but I do find the idea of rounding up people, getting them to like you, and then using their allegiance to you or their disposition towards you as sort of leverage when you're about to make your own kingdom
Yeah.
or when you want to make some power plays. That I find very, very fascinating. And again, it's really that fulfillment of the fantasy of being in a medieval battlefield and time that I really enjoy.
So did you actually want to play the political the political game? Did you actually want to play the political game, or because I didn't actually care at all. Like, I only cared about one guy because he's my brother-in-law, and I'm like, well, he's my brother-in-law. Maybe I should rescue him from prison.
Wait, do you have family in this game?
Yeah, you can get married, and
I see.
in order to get married, I had to try really hard. Like, I had to rescue this guy from prison. I had to complete quests for him, and I had to pay a huge dowry. In my opinion, getting married was kind of a pain. You should probably just be a woman and don't deal with that.
I mean,
Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
so as far as politics go, I think when you're looking at the end game where you're trying to build your own kingdom, I think that does play. I think you have to use politics to your advantage, right? Like, you don't
Yeah.
want to like have all the factions up against you, or
Yeah, if you're the
Yeah.
king, you actually have to recruit the lords. You can't just like have some other dude AI recruit lords for you.
Right, yeah. So again, I haven't really gotten that far yet, but I can see the value with the politics in play, and you're making power plays like that. That again, it adds up towards the end game. If you really want to go to the end game. Now, I don't plan on beating the game because I know it's gonna take a long time. But for me, I just wanted to commit. Like in my current game, I'm aligned with the Nords, and
Nice.
we're at war with the Vaegars,
I swear
and
to God,
now
those Vegas, man.
yeah, pretty much we've wiped them all out from the map except for one castle, and I just wanted to commit like Vaegar genocide before I quit my game. Right, that's my goal. Right.
The lords don't like you. They won't follow you, so that's
Yeah,
problematic.
no, see that is the thing. So that's why I can understand. Yeah, you need to gain favor with people in order for them to do what you want them to do.
So I haven't gotten as far as you guys have in terms of actually trying to eliminate other kingdoms and whatnot, but something I'm concerned about hearing this is if you eliminate a faction, don't you just eliminate like a bunch of troop options from the table as well?
No,
No,
because yeah, their villages still give you the same troops.
Oh, nice. Okay. Because I thought that if you converted it, if a village changed factions, it might just give you the units for that faction.
It doesn't matter anyways. Your home faction is actually the best faction, because there's sometimes your king will give you a quest, and it's like produce this many troops, and the troops are always the home faction type, not some other type.
Right.
Which factions did you end up playing?
I played the Redux, and I also played the Mongols. Who are they called? The Khanates.
Oh, Kurgit?
Yeah, Khergit Khanates.
Yeah, I was playing Kurgit for a while, and then I think I've spent most of the game playing Saranids just because of having like the best light cavalry and lances. But I think I should have been playing Rodox from the start because they're more my style in terms of having good crossbows and standing infantry.
See, I just chose Redux because I didn't want to fight Redux again. Last time I got owned by them, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Here I go. I joined the Redux. So funny about the politics. You don't have to do politics if you don't want to. I just like if you want people to like you, just take a bunch of castles for them. The king will love you after that. As long as you keep killing the enemies, then you'll just gain favor with the entire empire. You won't gain favor with specific people, but if you get named marshal, then you can order everyone else around because you're the marshal. You're like the general of the entire army.
What do you even need to do in order to get to the point where you have a wife?
Oh, getting a wife as a man is extraordinarily complicated.
Because like they're all married already, from what I see.
Okay, so the unmarried women only come out to feasts. So if there's a feast, a bunch of single ladies will come out, talk to them, and then you better know some poetry because if you just try to hit on them without poetry, they're just gonna be disgusted.
Sounds like real life.
Yeah, so just blow some poetry on them. If you just want a tournament, that helps too, and then slowly win favor over those people and find out who is their like father-in-law or sister-in-law, or sorry, brother-in-law, because the man of the household will actually let you marry her. You don't actually need to be favorable with her. You just need to be favorable with the man of the household.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it obviously helps if the woman likes you, but she doesn't need to like you. You mostly need to just talk to the guy, and if he likes you, then you're gonna get married. But you still need to pay a freaking dowry, which is like a 10,000 gold. So be ready for that huge cost. Oh yeah, and it helps a lot if you have a castle, because if you don't have any land or like a good standing, like you're not a well-known person, then nobody wants to marry their daughter off to a nobody, basically.
Did you ever play through the game as? Oh, sorry, I didn't cut you off.
My first playthrough was a woman. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I never
heard
got
that
married.
the game's harder for playing as a woman.
I think the king is just sexist towards women. He won't give you land, so you kind of have to take your own land. Also, getting married is much simpler as a woman, though. Like, you just talk to some random lord who's fighting around, and just ask him what would it take to join our houses together, which is code for you want to get married. And then if he says yes, you're married. Like, end of story.
Yeah, it sounds like if you came to this game looking for gender equality, you came to the wrong place. If you were, I would just imagine like a girl or something trying to come into this game and just happen to pick playing as a woman with no previous context, like, and they just make the game harder without you even knowing. It's just kind of shitty.
I don't think they make the game that much harder. I got pretty far as a woman playthrough. I mostly lost because I tried to besiege castles I should not have besieged.
Okay, so it doesn't have, okay.
Yeah.
Then that's fine.
I think it mostly just makes certain lords not want to give you castles, but they never want to give you freaking castles. It's really annoying.
So, did you get to the point of like actually owning your own kingdom then?
I in the first playthrough as a woman, I rebelled against the Radokians. Like, I tried to take over their kingdom. That was pretty hard. So I basically said, this playthrough is screwed because I'm trying to fight like a 400 stack of people. I'm out of here.
So they would be like sieging your shit too, right?
Yes,
like,
yes. Like, the liege, the lord of that castle basically has 300 people. And that's a little difficult for me. What else is there? I do know that I was trying to prop up a rebellion. I wasn't trying to become king by myself, because there's like 3 ways to win the game: kill everyone else and ally yourself with like one of the major powers, start a rebellion and become marshal of that rebellion, basically, and then you just replace that power. And then the third way is to just start your own kingdom, and you can give it your own funny name, and you'll be your own kingdom, and you'll basically be at war with everyone. So Kai, you want to talk about the graphics of this game?
Yeah, sure. Wow. There are some words that I would use to describe the graphics, although not in a particularly positive way.
It looks like Half-Life 1. That's a positive thing, right?
Ooh.
Not positive?
No, not quite either. I mean, now it looks like what is it? Okay, I know. It looks like a more refined version of Neverwinter Nights. If you guys have ever played that game from 2002. But yeah, like the graphics are they are pretty bad. Although you can argue that really this is about function over form. And it nails the combat. That's all I really care about. It's fine. Right.
Was Neverwinter
Other
Nights
than
good?
that,
This looks like a Baldur's
well,
Gate
I bought
game.
it and I never got to beat it.
Oh wow.
It is, yeah. It's from BioWare.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a D&D Forgotten Realms game. But
Personally, I think that the graphics are definitely not that appealing. But it still must have taken a lot of effort because generally it's pretty consistent across the board. And they have, models for each city, and there's a good amount of character customization options, but actually looking at those character customization options can be a disgusting work of art.
it's like Dark Souls. It's like creating a character in Dark Souls. It's pretty bad.
Have you seen like the naked character models? Like they'll have faces that have different skin color than the rest of the body.
Huh.
Oh
So-
yeah. I
Yeah,
saw
that was the
that.
Or like everyone has the same body, so you'll have this like really old dude on a super buff.
I can believe the super buff old dude.
Okay, yeah.
But it is kind of funny, the different skin tone does not blend perfectly. Yeah, the graphics are usually bad
you're
part.
mostly gonna be wearing fancy armor anyway.
Thank God for that armor. Put that hat back on. Like nobody wants to see that.
There's a pretty wide range of like armor and weapon options, so you can really make yourself. You can probably stick around customizing for a good amount of time, but then you have to actually go out and buy the gear, obviously. So
Yeah, I usually just loot it off the people I kill. Yeah, that brings
yeah. I haven't bought a single weapon.
Oh wow. I usually buy
What?
lances because nobody drops lances until much later into the game.
Yeah. For me, I'm mostly just investing in like dye works at several
You're investing
places
into,
just
into
to
diamonds.
start
Yeah, start
a
that
money
income,
making
yeah.
a money making
You know what's the
machine. Yeah,
fastest way to make
and then
money?
after that
Prisoners. Selling
oh
prisoners.
yeah,
You
I've
can get
always
rich.
started as a fucking slave trader in this game. It's
ridiculous.
disgusting. You
Yeah.
can like initially there's such a good income boost because you'll knock all the looters unconscious and just sell them off, and you do that for like however long, and until you can't really until looters are useless. But like instead of just leveling, now you can level and make money off of the people that you quote unquote killed.
yeah I see. The thing about that is at the beginning of the game, like it wasn't really clear to me like if I should invest into the prison management or prisoner management. I was like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
what is this for?
Well, here it
And
is.
I
It's
think-
worth it.
like, see, I thought that there was supposed to be some sort of moral consequence, like when you're selling slaves.
Yeah,
But like, it's really just a moneymaker, and that was it.
The game
Yeah.
manages to get a lot of things that you would expect to be there and miss out on a lot of things that you also expect to be there, like
Don't worry.
moral consequences.
the moral consequences of selling prisoners is making tons of money, and God would want you to be rich, wouldn't he? It was God who told me to make money.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, cha-ching, baby. Every time I knock a looter unconscious, cha-ching. It just makes a
Playing
cha-ching
as
sound.
Rodux now, I feel so terrible because it means that I have to use lethal weapons like crossbows and swords instead of trying to just
Right. Trying to
mace
knock
them
them
to
out.
death.
Yeah.
Just hire a bunch of slave drivers. Cha-ching, baby. Cha-ching.
I've had, I mean, this past playthrough I've been able to run into several groups of deserters and bandits to just rescue manhunters and hire them. But apparently for Florist mod, it gets really spicy at the end game because they get like elephants. It's just weird.
Oh yeah, there's some elephants. I got an elephant once. I was like, what the heck is this? It was really dumb. Don't worry about it. So
Are they
besides-
actually bigger than stuff? Because I've never
No.
seen it.
they're like a slightly larger horse. is how I
Oh
would
my
describe
God.
it. Just like camels, they're slightly larger than horses. Yeah, I don't know what to say other than that. So another thing I didn't like about this game was all the town exploration stuff. I just wish Florist let you just click. I talk to the guild master. Then give me my quest. I don't really care what you're talking about. I'll figure out how to do it later. And then just get out of town. I want to get back to killing people, because that's the only part of the game that's fun, and I feel like the game is really focused on making that fun, and that's what I really like about this game. So much so that I just kind of want every other game to be more like Mountain Blade.
So I think earlier you were saying that the quests and stuff are mainly there to break up the pace of the game, and that would be nice if the quests weren't so shitty in themselves.
Yeah, all the quests are pretty unfun to actually complete.
There's like basic fetch quests in terms of having you deliver a message to a guy halfway across the map, or like
Cattle, herding cattle.
herding cattle is just a meme because you have to like
You have to push
buy the
them.
cattle, and then you have to push them along on the world map and not do whatever you want it to be doing for like 10 days or something, because they can just go off in their own direction.
Right, and they get
And-
lost. Yeah.
And then some other quests like training villagers, where you're just sitting there
Yeah. See,
swinging for.
I actually don't mind
Couple
training
days.
villagers the most, because it's just just sit in this village and train these villagers, and at the end you'll get to kill people. so there's that. If at the end of all these quests you gotta kill a bunch of people, I think I could forgive them.
If they had a better way of training troops besides like going to the training camp and 1v1ing for 3 in-game days, or just actually fighting and risking losing your men, like I would totally take that option. If there was an option for me to like pay to just upgrade my troops immediately, I would totally take it. I haven't used mercenaries all that often because I do want to have like a force of a unified force from a single kingdom
Oh,
most
wow.
of the time. But
I usually don't do that at all. I'm just like, oh, I'm in the middle of Serenade Sultanate. Better hire some troops.
yeah, I mean, I think it would be better for me if I actually tried to get a mix, because then you would have like the best cavalry and the best archers and the best infantry from each kingdom. But I've mostly just been sticking with forces from a single kingdom usually.
All right. And on that note, I have nothing else to really say about this game other than I really like it. I want every other game to be like this game.
I would gladly take the fantasy of being a lord and building up my own settlement and going around killing things as a mercenary band. But Mountain and Blade really captures some aspects pretty well and then totally misses on others, which is why I'm just like kind of whatever about this game.
Well, here's some advice for you.
I
Just
think...
skip those other aspects.
Yeah, if you're like solely in combat, like, and just clanging swords and upgrading troops and trying to figure out ways to improve your army, then yeah, it's great. But like, I don't know about actually buying land and whatnot, because I'm just in the combat all day for this game usually.
Right. I think at that point, then you might just want to play Chivalry. But then, yeah, I do understand that. Like, yeah, the combat is really the core gameplay that everyone just wants. Everything else is fluff and serviceable, I guess.
If you wanted to take the kingdom building aspect, I feel like other games executed a lot better just because obviously they're more focused on it, like Total War, or even like a 4X strategy game or something. But yeah, it does a passing job in this game, at least.
If Total War had the same combat as Mountain Blade,
definitely. Yeah.
Oh my god.
If they had a first-person option for Total War, that would be pretty funny.
I would take it. Like, I don't care if I don't control my troops, as well as I do.
There's no way that they would be able to do that with their budget's already like sky high, and they'd have to like put in first-person weapons and everything for every single troop type. Like, oh my god.
Oh, it would just be for yourself, because you wouldn't possess like a troop. You would just have a troop that's like generic player,
Oh, you mean like just control a lord, basically?
Yeah, you're just controlling one dude, just like Mountain Blade. And then I guess all your AI would just attack the enemy, because I'm not going to bother coding,
one of the nice things about Florist mod is that, like, if you die, you still get switched to another AI player.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, in the one I'm playing anyway.
Wow, I didn't have that. Jesus.
Yeah, so like, usually it'll just switch you to your companions or your just a random troop, and that makes it so much better, because then you can fight without having to worry about just dropping like a fly on your initial entry.
Yeah, so in the real game, if you die, the battle's over. You lost.
Yeah, I've had that. Like, I've played like 2 different versions of Florist. One was the regular Florist mod, and then the other version I'm playing right now is called the Florist Evolved, and that had that option.
Nice. I should try that, definitely.
Have you ever tried the Game of Thrones mods for this?
Oh, yes, I saw it.
I've always been curious since they at least built off of Florist, but...
if I actually watched Game of Thrones, I probably would. I would play the Game of Thrones mod. But yeah, it looked really fun.
I haven't checked it out yet.
Well, that's the end of the podcast. If you want to contact us, you can always reach me at Twitter. My handle is @MeisterJaggers. You can also reach us at GandCgamecorner@gmail.com. As always, links provided in the show notes.